3 days ago, when questioned on the issue, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis dismissed claims as fake news. There was no truth to a document being circulated via social media that purported that Romuald Ferreira's responsibilities as Environment Minister had been reassigned. Well, the Prime Minister's comments created quite a hornet's nest during the weekly briefing with Press Secretary Anthony Newbold. Mr. Newbold today told reporters that the Prime Minister has assumed the responsibility of the Bahamas Environment, Science and Technology, or BEST Commission, and that's been the case since August. Question is, why didn't the Prime Minister feel the need to reveal this at the time he debunked the alleged rumors against his cabinet minister?
So there was no intent to hide it. It was just something that was done. As far as he was concerned, I have BEST. The rest of those things I don't have, because as far as he was concerned, anything that said there was this wholesale transfer of responsibilities would have to be fake. Because as far as he's concerned, that's not what happened. And nobody's scouring the Gazette. Somebody did find out. And so it can be corrected officially. But in the reality of the actual execution of duties every day.
Meantime, Mr. Ferreira took off for Montreal, Canada last weekend for the 29th meeting of the parties to the Ozone Layer Convention and is currently in Mexico. In other news, the government's getting another bit of advice when it comes to its push to make the Commercial Enterprise Bill law, and this time it's coming from former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham, who's urging the Minnis-led administration to rethink the controversial proposed legislation. Now, as is, the bill is also being picked apart by the opposition and some in the private sector, who contend that at $250,000, the threshold is just too low for someone wishing to invest in the Bahamas. Furthermore, such businesses would be entitled to a specified number of work permits for senior personnel. If the application for those work permits is not answered after 14 days, they would be deemed approved. It's in the face of all this that the government has received much flack. In its defense, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquist this morning insisted there are no secrets or backroom deals in what the government is trying to accomplish.
That we're trying to attract. You will quickly recognize that a lot of those industries, most of those industries, do not exist in the Bahamas. And even in the ones that exist, like wealth management, which is a broad term, we're not looking at the traditional wealth management that we may already have in the country. We're looking at things like head office, encouraging head office to be domiciled here. We're looking at things like specialized financial products that may not exist here, that we do not have in country the expertise to deal with.
The bill comes at a time when the financial services industry is under pressure, and according to Mr. Turnquist, that leaves the Bahamas to do some things differently if it is to survive.
We cannot sit here and do the things that we have done in the past, not adapt our legislation, not adapt our enabling environment to be competitive and to anticipate, not just react, but to anticipate where the world is going and expect that we're going to have growth. This is about job creation. This is what this is about for Bahamians. This is about creating opportunities for Bahamians that do not exist today. And so when I hear this thing about the government favoring foreigners over domestic business, that is nonsense. We are not about introducing foreign competition for Bahamian businesses.
That aside, the Deputy Prime Minister says the government's mindful of all the concerns that have been made and will look to see if they've already been addressed or whether amendments ought to be made. Well, as the Deputy Prime Minister has pointed out, the financial services sector is not doing well. And according to Nicholas Rees, a partner at RDC Partners and Associates, in order for it to revive itself, a lot must be done. And that includes doing away with exchange control and embracing digital currency. A blend of finance and technology, better known as fintech, is the direction Mr. Rees believes the country should move in. Mr. Rees was at the time appearing as a guest on Love 97's evening talk show On Point with host Wendell Jones. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us. There's more to come after this break.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.